morning, everybody. I'm Dave Lynch. I'm the city. We have at 7:30 in the morning a little update as to what's happening on a local basis. Of course, the governor is giving press conferences a few days a week at 2 o'clock, and the governor is doing something as well with reference to, the president is doing something with his task force, although it is my understanding that they are winding down. But ladies and gentlemen, we want to make sure you have some local information, and that is the reason why we've put together this COVID-19 update. And I also want to make sure that folks continue to wear those masks. It's a barrier between your nose and mouth and somebody else breathing in those molecules. This past weekend, I went around town, and what I did was I was at some of the stores in Newton Falls, and I gave a dollar bill to various persons that I would bump into that were citizens wearing a mask as a way of saying to them, thank you for wearing the mask. And that dollar bill is so that you can wear that mask as well, just a way of saying thank you. Here's a little video, and there we go. There's the young lady wearing the dollar bill presentation. By the way, those are not tax dollars that I'm handing out. Those are dollars out of my own pocket. Just a way of saying I love the fact that you're a responsible citizen. So you might think of this a little bit kind of like those folks that drive around from Mally's and they give an award to people that they see the chocolate egg on their bumper. Well, the city manager will be out and about, and you don't know when he'll show up, but he may walk up to you and say, here's a dollar bill because you're being a responsible citizen. And again, not taxpayers' dollars. Those come from Dave Lynch personally because I appreciate what you're doing. Well, speaking of appreciating what people are doing, I wanted to say right now, thank you to the folks at Domino's Pizza in Newton Falls. We have on the live line right now the owner-operator of the Domino's franchise in Newton Falls, Matt Jordan. Good morning, Matt. How are you?
Good morning. I am well. Thank you.
Great, great. Well, you've certainly been doing a wonderful job as it relates to COVID-19 and being careful. What kind of precautions are you undertaking there over at Domino's in downtown Newton Falls?
First off, all of our employees are required to wear masks at all times. We are also cleaning and sanitizing all our utensils and countertops on a regular basis, usually between anywhere between 1 and 2 hours intervals. So everything gets sanitized, all the often touch surfaces like our touch screens, door handles, inside and outside, the bathroom door handles, all that kind of thing is also sanitized every couple of hours. We are also offering just switched to 100% contactless delivery. So every delivery we take is contactless. We just ask the customer where would be a convenient place for us to leave the delivery for them. We place it on a pedestal.
Hey, Matt, let me interrupt for a second. How does that work in terms of payment? So do they pay online or give you a credit card over the phone so that there's no contact upon delivery?
As of right now, we're probably about 90% of them are credit card. We're not making it mandatory that they pay with a credit card. They can pay with cash. We do have a little cardboard pedestal that we use to place the order on, and it could be placed upside down where they could put a bag with cash in it.
Oh, that's kind of neat.
So they could put the cash in there, and once they take the order away, then the cash is just sitting there so the driver can then come back and pick up the cash.
Hey, Matt, one of the things I'm hearing around town is that with the delivery and with the pickup, people appreciate the fact that you have stayed open and the various restaurants are serving Newton Falls. And what I'm hearing is that the amount of tips or gratuities is actually a little bit higher right now. Is that true?
I think so, yeah. I think they're a little bit higher. People do appreciate it. Occasionally I get to take a delivery, so I think there's been a handful of really amazing tips that people have given out.
Can you give me a couple of examples? Give me don't tell us who gave the tips, but what kind of amazing tips have taken place?
I know a few of my drivers have reported $50 tips and $100 tips. So,
oh my gosh, $50 and $100 tips. But not to be so bad in the area of puns, but when it comes to pizza, that's a lot of dough.
Yeah, that's the
Sorry,
best,
I know it's early in the morning. Well, Matt, that's really wonderful, and I want to say something else to congratulate you. You have very prominently displayed the city's request that people wear masks when they're in the stores as customers. And I've noticed that you've had a lot of customers that are complying with that. Must make you feel pretty good, Matt.
Yeah, we feel pretty good about what we're trying to do, and we're just trying to stay healthy inside of the store and keep everyone outside of the store healthy as well.
Well, that's a great way to do it.
That.
Yeah.
We are also offering curbside pickup for carryouts, so you no longer even have to come into the store to pick
My
up your
goodness.
order. So those are online only orders. You have to pay with a credit card, and it's online order only. So once they arrive at the store, our computer will give us a little notice, and we'll run it out to them. So,
Matt, that is tremendous. Well, folks, I want to remind everybody, if you need a pizza in Newton Falls, 872-2011, 330-872-2011. And man, I want to say something else. Obviously, what you're doing to keep us healthy makes you a very important part of our community. But I notice that when community organizations need a meeting room, you have a little meeting room just off to the right when you first walk in the door, and you don't charge people to use that room. You're really reaching out to organizations in town, aren't you?
Yeah, we've I don't see any reason to charge it. I mean, we just have it. We had some extra space, so we built it. Before this all happened, we had a couple of card playing things in there, a couple days a week.
Sure.
And the library was using it. They were bringing in a few kids once a week. And,
yeah. Well, Matt, I know the July 4th committee frequently has their meetings there, and the point is this: you've integrated into the community of Newton Falls, and we just, especially during the COVID-19, appreciate what you're doing over there at the Domino's, which is located at Broad Street and Center Street, 872-2011. And I want to say to an outstanding entrepreneur in Newton Falls, thank you for what you're doing, Matt Jordan. Congratulations, and thanks for everything, Matt.
Oh, you're welcome.
All right. Thank you so much. That's Matt Jordan, and he is making Newton Falls work despite the fact that we are in this very difficult and different time in terms of the way that things are operating generally in Newton Falls because of COVID-19. These programs have really helped us see how the world has changed in Newton Falls in particular. And we have somebody with a very unique angle on this sort of thing, Eric Thompson. He's going to be on a live line with us, I believe, in just a minute. And
good morning.
Yeah, hi, Eric. How are you?
I'm well, thanks.
Good. Thanks for coming on the program. Eric, people think about the traditional businesses in Newton Falls, restaurants, manufacturing, people that are in retail. But Eric Thompson, you've been a staple in the entertainment community in Newton Falls. And I can't think of another area in which the COVID-19 shutdown has sort of strangled the lifeblood of activity other than in the entertainment field. So Eric, tell us a little bit about what you do and how the COVID-19 has shut off the tap, so to speak.
Well, David, the whole coronavirus scare and the fallout has has ruined lives. I mean, it's killed people. So just to keep things in perspective, you know, what I
Sure.
do is, you know, way down on the list of important things. All of that said, it's a lot of fun. It's sharing joy and laughter through magic and comedy, and I get to do that across the United States and all around the world until the beginning of March of this year. At that point, everything shut down. All the venues are closed. So, and the government and the media has combined to get a message out that has kept people hidden away, I suppose, is the best way to describe it. So yeah, it's shut it off completely. It hasn't just been a downturn. It's completely shut off. Every show was canceled, and not just for me, but for musicians. There's bands that are guys that make their living playing from wedding bands and nightclub bands, and guys that are playing guitars and singing in wineries, stand-up comics, magicians. They're all done. Nobody's working at all.
Eric, walk us through a video that you won't see, so there's a magic trick for you, of one of the really entertaining tricks that you do. I understand this video we're looking at right now is called the wine glass trick. Can you tell us a little bit about that? It's on the screen right now.
It's obvious. I think it's obvious just watching it. You don't even have to hear it. It's glass on a tray, covered up with a scarf, disappears right before your eyes.
Well, we're watching you stand in front of the audience right now, displaying the tray with the glued wine glass to the tray.
Well, don't give it away, Dave.
Eric, obviously, your business brings a lot of joy and happiness to the community. You know, I'm surprised Dr. Acton hasn't talked about the essential activity of making people laugh. You mentioned it for a moment, but there is a psychological, almost spiritual component to people separating themselves from the somber nature of what's going on and having a good belly laugh every now and then, isn't there?
Sure. It's a great release. It's relief from the day-to-day stress of just basic life. But to be fair, Dr. Acton has mentioned it. They have talked about how laughter, whether it be through phone calls or Zoom calls or whatever, just to stay in touch.
Sure.
One of the concerns I had early on was that this term social distancing. It should never have been called that. It should have been called physical distancing.
Yes.
We should still be socially active and socially together while physically apart. But and the government has also stepped in for gig performers. There's a stimulus package for them. There's unemployment has been made available for them that was never available before. So people have stepped up, and these performers have gotten very creative as well. There are a number of outlets. I think probably the most popular, most commonly seen is that of Facebook, where guys will go on Thursday, Friday, Saturday nights, a couple of them on Sunday nights. They'll perform their regular show, whatever they've done in bars or nightclubs, comedy clubs, and there's a phone number that you can call or a website you can visit that's got a Venmo virtual tip jar or a PayPal tip jar that you can tip that performer. I haven't done one of those. I'm very fortunate to have a day job, a real job, if you will. Mm-hmm. So I haven't done those performers, but I've instead spent time promoting and helping and supporting other artists but that's their whole living. These guys are just done. I mean, they just the bottom fell out immediately with no notice.
Isn't that terrible? Eric, I did want to ask you about what's coming. The reason I say that is they're going to be having al fresco service at some restaurants that is outdoors coming up very shortly. And then later on, restaurants and venues will start to open up. But, your business, part of it is driven by a lot of people all together to enjoy a performance with the physical distancing that might be coming down the pike as these places reopen. How do you anticipate that affecting your line of work even after the restaurants start reopening later this month?
Depends on the performer and his or her style. I think you'll see guys, again, wineries or bars, that kind of thing. Those guitar performers that are solo artists or duets, small groups, even rock bands and bars. Those guys can play to a room that's not packed. Mm-hmm. Where a lot of comedians, laughter is very contagious. So you want that room to be as full as possible and people to be as close together as possible. I talked to a comedy club owner over the weekend who told me that and sent me some pictures. He's got his room set up to reopen at the end of this month. Tables are 10 feet apart. It looks barren. I mean, it's just, I don't know how it'll work. It may work out fine, but everybody's in the same boat. The audience expects that it's going to be awkward and different, so they'll be forgiving of that. And the performer also knows that. The thing that I did not like that he's considering is he hung a plexiglass panel between at the front edge of the stage, so the performer would actually be performing behind glass.
Oh my gosh, reminds me a little bit of the Chicken Wire while the Blues Brothers were playing in front of the bikers. You remember that scene?
Yeah, I do. I'm not sure how that'll work. The glare of a spotlight will make the performer invisible to some. I don't know. I don't know if that'll work or not. I don't know how much the performer spits while he's performing.
Sure.
I'd say just move the front row back 10 feet. And, I don't know. I don't know. Nobody knows. This is totally uncharted territory. I suppose vaudeville went through this a little bit with the Spanish flu in 1918, 1919.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I don't think they realized how communicable that was at the time either. So
sure.
I don't know. It's different. It's a whole new ball game.
Well, Eric,
I
people
just hope that people eventually will return to normal thinking. With hopefully there'll be a prophylactic that will stop people from getting this. If they do get it, there can be a therapeutic drug that will treat it, and a vaccine that will prevent folks from getting. I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen, and I think it's going to take a very long time for not just for the science to catch up, but for people's emotion to catch up. I think it'll be a couple of years before everyone is sort of, if you will, back to normal.
Yeah, and comfortable again.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, all right. Leave it to a comedian to come on the city manager's COVID-19 report and use the word prophylactic. Well, thank you for that, Eric. Well, listen.
Dave, it's a medical term.
Yes. No, hey, listen, I'm doing a little of the comedy too now,
Oh, yeah.
Well, listen, Eric, thank you so much. By the way, people can get a hold of you as time goes on. Tom, I think we have a graphic, do we not? And that's ericthompsonmagic.com.
There you go. Everything you could want to know is right there. There's a great YouTube channel that we've put together with tons of videos from lots of performances over the last 40 years and all kinds of stuff from the charitable stuff that I do overseas and it's all kind of fun.
Well, that is outstanding. Eric Thompson, thank you so much for spending some time with us. And I hope things will loosen up a little bit, especially for somebody who spends their time doing something we all need to do more of, and that is laugh and enjoy ourselves. So, Eric, thanks so much, and peace and good health to you and your family.
Thank you to you as well, and to everyone in the viewing area. Just support these gig performers. These guys really, really need your support right now. Seek them out, find them online, and tip them a little bit. That would be great.
Outstanding. All right, Eric Thompson, thank you so much. And Eric is really one of those guys that once you get to know him, you get to realize that there's a heart there and there's comedy there as well. And we forget that these are people that in the Newton Falls area, we have a number of people that are musicians, entertainers, magicians. They've been shut down, just completely shut down. And you could hear a little bit of sense of exasperation in his voice about what's happened to the entertainment economic community. Well, we're about to close the show, except for, backed by popular demand, we received a number of phone calls asking us if we could just play once again a little montage we did of people wearing masks in Newton Falls called the COVID Mask, otherwise done to the tune of the Monster Mash. Let's take a look at it. I was shopping one day in Newton Falls when COVID-19 entered our halls. This brave little village, this covered bridge town, they stopped the virus and knocked it down. They wore the COVID mask. It's such a simple task. It's all that I ask. Please wear the COVID mask. Mazzaros and Funk said, fire this guy. Most people said, don't even try. The mayor said, hold it, he's good for the city. We know the truth, Corona's not pretty. They wore the COVID mask. It's such a simple task. It's all that I ask. Please wear the COVID mask. Wear them about when you're in the store, and coronavirus will be no more. Well, here's a town that's there for you. With this kind of spirit, the COVID is through. Citizens united and wore them with pride. They knew they had science and God on their side. Who's that quiet man in the back? It's only Councilman Berrien. They wore the COVID mask. It's such a simple task. It's really all that I ask. Please wear the COVID mask. And as Boris Karloff says, in that COVID mask video, wear your mask to keep us safe. Well, folks, that wraps up another one of our editions of the COVID-19 morning briefing here in Newton Falls. Thanks for watching. Please stay in touch with the good Lord up in heaven. He wants what is best for us. He answers prayers, but we have to send those prayers up to him. And they're not always answered the time we want them or the way that we want them, but he's got a plan that is bigger than all of us, and we may not always understand it, but he always has our best interest at heart. Well, thanks again, folks, as I conclude every one of these sessions. God bless America, and God bless the city of Newton Falls.